Okay, so I want you to visualize something for a second. Well, maybe don't close your eyes if you're driving. But think about a human body. Usually when we talk about computers, we are just completely obsessed with the brain. You know, the CPU, the processing speed, all that raw intelligence.
Or the short-term memory, the RAM.
Yeah, exactly. The glamour muscles, the
Mhm.
parts that get all the attention.
Right, the things they print in big, bold letters on the box.
But today, we are ignoring the brain. We're going to talk about the unsung heroes, the parts that, frankly, keep the whole system alive.
The heart, the circulatory system, the long-term memory.
That's it. We're talking about the power supply unit, the heart, the cooling systems that keep it from overheating, and storage, where you actually keep everything.
It's a surprisingly good metaphor, actually. And for this, we're pulling from the CompTIA A plus Core 1 and Core 2 training modules.
Which is pretty much the gold standard for IT pros, right?
It is. This is the foundational knowledge.
So this isn't just trivia. This is what you need to know to actually tear a computer apart and put it back together without a nasty shock.
Which is a valid concern, believe me. Our mission here is really to get beyond just plugging things in. We want to understand the physics of it. Why doesn't your PC melt?
And looking at these notes, the numbers are just wild. I saw some wattage figures for modern gaming rigs that honestly made me want to go check my electric bill.
They're impressive, yeah. But reliability and efficiency, that's really the story here.
Okay, so let's start with the heart. The power supply unit, the PSU.
That humble metal box in the corner.
To me, it's just where the black cord goes. You plug it in, the computer turns on, it feels like magic. But the source material makes it clear there's a lot more going on.
It's a translator. That's the best way to think of it. The power from your wall is AC alternating current, high voltage.
And computer chips can't handle that.
Not at all. They are delicate. They need steady, low voltage DC direct current.
So if I just, wired my motherboard to the wall outlet.
You would have a very expensive, very short firework display.
Halves. Okay, note to self, do not do that. But the thing in the notes that got me were these rails. It's not just one stream of power, is it?
No, not at all. Think of it like the plumbing in your house. You have a high-pressure main line coming from the street, but you need different pressures for different taps.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
The PSU is the manifold. It has to split that power into specific voltages. The notes highlight three main ones: 3.3 volts, 5 volts, and 12 volts.
And they all go to different parts of the machine?
Precisely. The 3.3 and 5 are for the more delicate chips on the motherboard, but that 12-volt rail, that's the fire hose.
For the CPU and the graphics card.
Exactly. And if that 12-volt rail is unstable...
Your system crashes.
Yeah.
It's like the water pressure dropping mid-shower.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, speaking of fire hoses, we have to talk about the math. There's a formula in the notes. Power in watts equals voltage times current.
Q equals V times I, the classic.
I haven't seen that since high school. But it matters because the loads are getting huge. The chart for the NVIDIA RTX 4090 graphics card, it blew my mind.
Ah, the current heavyweight champion.
The notes say, with a high-end Intel chip, you need an 850-watt power supply. At least.
At least.
But if you jump to a Threadripper processor,
The workstation beast. Yeah.
you need 1,200 watts.
Yeah.
1,200.
It is a staggering number.
Hold on. My microwave is, what, 1,000 watts? You're telling me a gaming PC is pulling more power than the thing I use to cook food?
It's a pretty terrifying comparison when you put it like that, isn't it? But
Yeah.
yes, and if you try to feed a beast like that with a cheap power supply, well,
It's not going to go well.
best case, it just shuts off. Worst case, you smell that distinct ozone and smoke smell. And to put it in perspective, a normal office PC runs on maybe 400 watts.
That really brings up efficiency then.
Right.
I saw the ADPLS logo mentioned. I always kind of assumed that was just marketing fluff.
No, it's a legitimate standard. It measures how much of the power from the wall actually becomes computer power versus how much is just wasted as heat.
Because the conversion isn't perfect?
Physics demands a toll. An ADPLUS rating means at least 80% efficiency, so 20% is lost as heat.
And why should I care? Is it just about saving a few bucks on the power bill?
That's part of it, but the bigger issue is where that waste heat goes. It gets dumped right inside your computer case. You're basically installing a little space heater next to all your expensive, delicate parts.
Right, which seems counterproductive.
Mm.
Okay, before we leave the PSU, the cables, the Medusa, and the box.
The cabling, yes.
The list of connectors is an alphabet soup. The 24-pin main, the 4-pin, 8-pin.
It's a lot. You've got power for the motherboard, dedicated lines for the CPU, PCIe for the graphics card, SATA for drives. A lot of copper.
And this leads to a choice. Modular versus non-modular. I used to think modular PSUs where you detach the cables you don't use were just for vanity, for the Instagram builds.
It does look a lot better, I'll give you that.
But I'm guessing there's a functional reason.
There absolutely is. It's airflow. With a non-modular PSU, you've got every single cable attached, even if you don't need them. You end up stuffing this big bundle of snakes in the bottom of the case.
The rat's nest.
Exactly. And that bundle acts like a dam. It blocks the cool air that needs to get to your components.
So spending more on a modular unit actually helps the system breathe.
Correct. It's a direct impact on your cooling.
One last thing on power. Redundancy. The notes mention redundant power supplies. This isn't for my home PC, is it?
No, unless you are incredibly paranoid. This is for data centers. In a server, downtime is money, so they use 2 PSUs. If one fails, the other one takes over instantly.
What's hot swappable?
It means you can literally pull the dead one out and plug a new one in while the server's still running. No reboot required.
That's the level of reliability I want in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
Hot swappable energy.
If only coffee worked that fast.
All right, let's follow the heat. We've got 1,200 watts going. You said electricity plus resistance equals heat. So the computer's going to melt if we don't do something.
Or it'll slow itself down to survive.
The sources break this down into passive, active, and liquid cooling. Let's start with passive, the big chunks of metal.
The heat sinks. It's just simple physics. A CPU generates intense heat in a tiny area, maybe the size of a postage stamp. You have to spread that heat out.
So you slap a block of aluminum with a bunch of fins on it.
The fins are the key. They increase the surface area to dissipate the heat into the air.
But, and this is critical, you can't just put metal on metal. The notes talk about thermal paste, that gray goo.
Yes. This is where a lot of beginners mess up. Under a microscope, the surface of a CPU and a heatsink are not smooth. They look like mountain ranges.
So if you just press them together,
you're only touching the peaks. The valleys between them are filled with tiny pockets of air.
And air is a terrible conductor of heat. It's an insulator.
Exactly. So the heat gets trapped. Thermal paste is a conductive material that fills in all those microscopic gaps. It replaces the air.
It's the bridge. Without it, your fancy cooler is basically useless.
Pretty much.
Okay, so the heat is in the fins. Now we get it out of the case. Enter the fans.
Active cooling. Intake fans pull cool air in, exhaust fans push hot air out. Simple airflow management.
And the notes had a maintenance tip that I feel personally attacked by. Clean vents and components with a soft brush.
Be honest, when did you last open up your PC case?
I might have some dust bunnies in there that have started their own families.
You have to clean it out. Dust is an insulator. It's like putting a wool blanket over your components. It clogs the fins. A dusty PC runs hotter.
Which makes the fans spin faster and get louder.
Exactly.
Okay, on that note, liquid cooling. This always looks like science fiction to me. Why go through all the trouble with tubes and pumps? Is it just for looks?
It does look cool, but the real benefit is thermal capacity. Water is just much, much better at absorbing and moving heat than air is. Remember our 1,200-watt Threadripper?
The microwave processor.
Right. Trying to cool that with just air is a real struggle. A liquid loop acts like the radiator in your car. It grabs the heat from the CPU and pumps it away to a large radiator where fans can deal with it more efficiently.
And the note said it's quieter.
Oh, much quieter. To cool a hot chip with air, you need fans spinning at 2,000 RPM. It sounds like a jet taking off. With liquid, the fans can spin much more slowly.
So, higher risk of leaks, I imagine, but a big reward in performance and silence.
That's the trade-off.
Okay. System is powered, it's chilled. Now, where does the data actually live? The vault. Storage.
The non-volatile memory.
The source starts with the great debate of our time, SSD versus HDD.
Solid-state drives versus hard disk drives.
And we all know SSDs are faster, flash memory, no moving parts, everything is snappy.
Yeah.
But the source made a really interesting point on the economics of it. A 10 TB hard drive costs about the same as a 2 TB SSD.
That is the current reality. HDDs, the spinning magnetic platters, that's tech from the 1950s, essentially. It's slower, but it's incredibly cheap per gigabyte. So for bulk archival storage, what we call spinning rust is still king.
Spinning rust. I like that. But there's a scarier detail in the notes about what happens when they die. This part actually gave me chills.
This is probably the single most important takeaway for anyone listening.
Say it on us.
If a hard drive, the spinning kind, fails mechanically, the data is still physically on those platters. It's magnetic patterns. A data recovery lab can take that drive into a clean room.
Like with people in special suits.
Pretty much. They can open it up, move the platters to a working drive, and often read the data. It's expensive, but the data still exists.
And with an SSD.
If an SSD controller dies, the data is just gone. It evaporates. There is no physical pattern to recover. It becomes digital vapor.
Whoa. Okay, that is a huge so what?
It means you should never, ever keep your only copy of unique data, your baby photos, your novel, solely on an SSD. Because if it dies, there is no rescue.
That's terrifying. Which leads us perfectly into the solution. RAID.
Redundant array of independent disks.
This sounds super technical, but it's just teamwork for hard drives, right? Let's go through the big ones, starting with RAID 0.
RAID 0 is striping. You take 2 drives, and the data is split across them. It's very fast because you're writing to 2 drives at once.
But the risk
is huge. 0 fault tolerance. If one drive fails, you lose everything on both drives.
So RAID 0 is for pure speed, living on the edge. What about RAID 1?
RAID 1 is mirroring. Simple. 2 drives, exact clones of each other. If one dies, the other just keeps working.
Great for safety, but you lose half your space. 2 1-terabyte drives gives you only 1 terabyte of storage.
Correct. It's costly in terms of capacity.
Okay, so the middle ground, RAID 5. The notes say it uses parity. What even is parity? It sounds like magic.
It feels like it, but it's actually just simple algebra.
Algebra.
Stay with me. Imagine you have 3 drives, A, B, and C.
Got it. 3 drives.
RAID 5 writes a piece of data to drive A, let's say the number 5. It writes another piece to drive B, say the number 3.
Okay, 5 and 3.
On the third drive, the parity drive, it stores the sum. What's 5 plus 3?
8.
Right, so drive C holds the number 8. Now imagine drive B, the one with the 3 on it, explodes. It's gone.
Okay, panic sets in.
Not with RAID 5. The system looks at what's left. It sees drive A, which is 5, and the parity drive, which is 8. It knows that 5 plus something equals 8.
And the only possible answer is 3.
Exactly.
You just did the math to find the ghost data.
You reconstructed the data. That is what RAID 5 does millions of times a second. It reconstructs the missing piece of the puzzle.
That is actually incredibly cool.
It is. It lets you survive one drive failure without losing half your space like in RAID 1.
But then there's RAID 6.
RAID 6 is double parity. It does 2 sets of those calculations, so you can have 2 drives fail at the exact same time and still recover everything.
But there's a catch. The notes mentioned a performance hit.
Right. Doing all that math takes time. So RAID 6 has slower write speeds. You're trading some speed for extreme safety.
And then there's RAID 10 for people with a big budget.
RAID 10 is a stripe of mirrors. It combines the speed of RAID 0 with the safety of RAID 1. Best of both worlds, but you need at least 4 drives and you still lose half your capacity. It's the luxury option.
So to recap, SSD for your operating system, HDD for your huge media library, and RAID if you can't afford to lose any of it.
And please remember, RAID is not a backup. If your house burns down, the RAID array burns with it. You still need an off-site backup.
A very sobering reminder. We should also quickly touch on removable storage SD cards, optical drives.
Optical drives, using lasers to read pits and lands, it feels so vintage now.
Like a vinyl record for data?
A bit, yes. But for long-term archival, a Blu-ray disc is actually very stable. It doesn't suffer from bit rot like a magnetic drive can after 10 years on a shelf.
I never thought of that. The laser doesn't fade.
Exactly. It has its place.
Okay, let's bring this all back. We fueled the system with the PSU, we kept it from melting, and we figured out where to keep the memory safe.
And hopefully connected the dots between them all.
So what's the big takeaway? What should someone listening be thinking about their own machine?
I think it's balance. Don't just look at the CPU speed. Ask, do I have a PSU that can efficiently power this? Am I using a modular supply to help my airflow? And am I trusting my most critical data to a single drive that could just vanish?
It's about building a complete system, not just a pile of parts.
Precisely. You can have the fastest brain in the world, but if the heart gives out or the body overheats, that brain is dead.
And here's where it gets really interesting to me. We talked about 1,200-watt power supplies and these massive liquid cooling loops just for a desktop computer.
We did.
It feels like we are just fighting a brute force battle against physics. More power, more heat, more complex plumbing to get rid of it.
That is the current trend, yes.
So my final thought for you to chew on is this. Are we approaching a limit? Is this sustainable if every high-performance PC becomes a 1,200-watt space heater? Or are we going to see a shift where efficiency like that 80 PLUS standard becomes more important than just raw power?
It's the battle between brute force and elegance, and right now, brute force is winning. but physics always has the last laugh.
Something to think about the next time your computer fans sound like a jet engine. Thanks for diving deep with us.
My pleasure.
Stay cool.